Hello, everyone. Figma's most anticipated and game-changing feature is finally here, and it's called Slots. In this video, I'll show you what slots are, why they're useful, and how you can start using them in your own components. I'll also share a few tips and best practices so you can get the most out of this feature. So, let's dive in. Before understanding slots, let's first look at the problem they solve. Here, I have a card component. As you can see, this is a regular component with a frame and some elements inside it. Some layers can be shown or hidden, and we can change text, colors, icons, or variants when we create an instance. So if I duplicate this component and create an instance next to it, I can easily change the title, update the icon, or switch variants. But there's one major limitation. If I want to add a new element inside this component, like a button or another component, I simply can't do that inside the instance. For example, if I drag a button component into this card instance, Figma won't allow it. And this has always been one of the biggest limitations when working with reusable components. Because of this limitation, designers used to rely on two common workarounds. The first option was creating multiple variants of the same component. For example, one card with a button, another without it, another with two buttons, and so on. But this quickly becomes unrealistic because components like cards or modals can have endless possible configurations. Managing all those variants becomes messy and difficult. The second workaround was to detach the instance, modify it, and sometimes create a new component from it. But this defeats the entire purpose of using reusable components in the first place. And that's exactly where slots come in. Slots allow you to convert a frame inside a component into a flexible container where you can place custom content. Let's look at this example. Here inside this card component, you'll notice a highlighted pink area. This pink area indicates that it is a slot. Now, if I duplicate this component and create an instance, I can drag almost anything into that slot area. For example, I can drag text inside it. I can add buttons. I can even add multiple components and rearrange them however I want. This means one single component can now support infinite layouts and configurations, and that's the real power of slots. Now let's see how to create one. First, you need a component, because slots only work inside components. So here I have a simple frame with some text and auto layout applied. I'll convert this frame into a component. Next, we need a frame that will act as the slot container. So I'll create a new frame inside this component and position it where I want the flexible content to appear. Since I want my content to stack vertically, I'll apply auto layout with a vertical direction. Now, to convert this frame into a slot, you have two options. The first way is to right-click on the frame and select Convert to Slot. The second way is through the Component Properties panel. Select the component, go to Properties, click the plus icon, and choose Slot. Then give it a name, for example, Content Area, and create the property. Now, select the frame again and link it to the slot property you just created. You'll immediately see the pink highlight, which indicates that this frame is now a slot. There's one important thing to keep in mind. Only frames inside components can be converted into slots. You can't directly convert shapes like rectangles or circles into slots. Also, it's a good idea to configure auto layout properties beforehand. For example, you can set spacing between elements, padding around the frame, and make the container hug contents. That way, when someone uses an instance of your component, anything placed inside the slot will automatically follow these layout rules. Now let's see a quick example. I'll create an instance of this component. Let's imagine this card is meant to display product list. So I'll change the title to product list. Next, I'll drag a user list component into the slot area. Then maybe I'll add a text description. And finally, I'll add a button below it. Because of auto layout, everything stacks neatly and stays responsive. And just like that, we've created a flexible card layout using only one component. Now let's talk about a useful best practice. Slots give designers a lot of flexibility, but sometimes too much flexibility can cause confusion, especially when multiple designers are working on the same file. To guide users on what should go inside a slot, you can set preferred instances. To do this, select the component, go to the slot property settings, and look for preferred instances. Here you can choose specific components that are recommended for this slot. For example, I might allow Save Button, Product List, or One Product. Now, when someone creates an instance and clicks the plus icon inside the slot, they'll see a list of recommended components they can add instantly. This makes the workflow much faster and keeps the design system more organized. Another great thing is that you can also apply slots to older components. For example, if you already have a component with a frame inside it, you can simply right-click that frame and convert it into a slot. And if there isn't a parent frame yet, you can select multiple layers, right-click, and choose Wrap into New Slot. Figma will automatically create a frame and convert it into a slot container. So where should you start using slots? A simple rule is this. Think about the components where you often need to detach the instance just to add or change content. Those are perfect places to start using slots, like cards, modals, banners, or list components. Slots make your components more flexible, scalable, and easier to maintain. I definitely recommend trying them out in your design system. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Figma tutorials. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.